Hi guys. So this message has been on my mind for a while, and I've just been praying to God to know how to um share this message, but I will start. I've never met anyone who has not gone through trauma. Trauma? Ooh, trauma will mess you up if you let it. So trauma, it's an event that causes a very severe mental distress in your life. And again, I've never met anyone who has not gone through trauma, rich or poor, young or old. We all go through trauma. And what I've discovered is that often the enemy uses trauma to sow seeds of anger, bitterness, and resentment in our hearts. And once you let anger, resentment, bitterness to grow in your heart due to trauma, the enemy has got you. You know why? Because God, the Holy Spirit, can never dwell in a heart full of bitterness. Impossible. And I've been across, including myself, I've gone through things that the enemy tried to use that to sow seeds of bitterness in my heart, but I had to fight. I had to fight on my knees with prayer, with fasting. I went through one thing in my life that God just used to teach me the importance of overcoming evil with good, right? Overcoming our traumas with good things. Romans 12:21, I think, it says we should overcome evil with good. Again, we all have gone through trauma, all of us, and I think we will continue to go because as long as we're on this earth, there are life challenges that they are just inevitable. They will come. But once you have a mental mindset of no matter what life throws at me, I'm going to try to overcome it with good, then the enemy he's met his real opponent. So I'm here to just encourage anybody, myself, people out there to understand that this life, it's hard. Life is hard sometimes because the enemy, it's there constantly trying to make our lives miserable. The book of Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 says, what is it? It says, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. So often people think when bad things happen to them that it's just the individual. The reality is that Satan used that individual to hurt you. That's just what it is. It doesn't negate the fact that that person is still responsible, but the reality is that Satan used whoever it was, whether it's a family member or friend, to cause trauma in your life. But the Bible has given us the way to go about this. It says, overcome evil with good. I'm going to give this story one story of how God just help us to overcome evil with good. My first pregnancy, when we got married, our first pregnancy ended up in miscarriage. We were devastated, right? My husband and I, believe this story or not, but it's true. We started praying for twins. After our first pregnancy ended up in miscarriage, my husband and I started praying for twins. Why? Because we were angry and we wanted the enemy to pay. Mind you, my parents don't have twins. My husband's parents don't have twins. My husband and I will pray every morning when we wake up. We will pray. We'll say, God, thank you for our twins. Believe this or not, 3 months after, or less than 3 months after that miscarriage, I got pregnant. And it was a twin. My husband and I, we activated our faith. We wanted the enemy to pay, and he paid. He paid with a double push. He paid. He came and messed with the wrong one. So what am I saying? What am I trying to encourage you? Listen, life is hard. We're going to go through traumas, but once you have that mental mindset that, hey, no matter what happens, I'm going to try to turn this thing into something good. If you have a friend who betrayed you, when somebody else comes across you, you make another friend. Be intentional about being the best friend that you can. If you grew up in a broken home, When you're old enough to have your own home, be intentional in giving your children the best stable home that you can give them. I just wanted to share this message with you guys. God bless you.